Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. 4 Rio Tinto employees have been arrested in China on suspicion of illegally obtaining commercial secrets and of bribery. China claims that Rio stripped the country of 123 billion Australian dollars through a 6-year program of commercial espionage. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer is with me in the studio today to give us an overview of the story so far. Welcome to Second Take,
Hi,
Martin.
Shannon.
Talk of espionage, state secrets and bribery sounds like a Hollywood movie. What's the story so far?
I think that there is a softening of an approach towards those that are being held. We could see that the charges were largely downgraded in the latest announcements. I think there's been a lot of diplomatic activity, and we know that the Prime Minister of Australia, Kevin Rudd, he speaks Mandarin, and I think he's been buzzing in people's ears to try and lower this the charges against these people. The Chinese have a particular attitude to economic data which the Western world doesn't have, and I think they should come into line with the Western world, seeing that they're part of the world. They're oversensitive about the gathering of marketing data, and I think that what we see as a normal pursuit, they see as a crime. So we'll see how they handle it. I know when I was in Singapore has got the similar attitude, a very harsh attitude to any economic data coming out too soon. And I remember a journalist was jailed there for putting out the economic forecast a day ahead of time.
How does all of this link to the ongoing iron ore price talks, and what sort of impact will it have on iron ore producers?
It's inextricably linked to the iron ore pricing. I think we see it as that way anyway in South Africa. I mean, I know in years gone by when there was the bamboo curtain, we used to refer to China watching, because you always had to watch from a distance. You could never get in close. Well, it's the same with this particular issue. You're watching from a distance. You don't really know the details. But our perception is that the iron ore pricing is a big factor for China at the moment. They don't like the consolidation that is happening. They don't like what they see as a manipulation of the prices, particularly on the spot market. And there's this prolonged negotiation for the benchmark price. And we see some of the companies like BHP Billiton only allowing a percentage of their iron ore to be benchmark priced, because you have to suffer big discounts there between 33% and 44%, and they see a great buoyant spot market, and they would rather hold back their iron ore to sell on that spot market. They've been calling for more transparent iron ore pricing for some time now, and I think that the Chinese government holds a trump card, and that is in the form of import permits. And they issued over 100 import permits for the import of iron ore last year. And news is that they will cut that down. And one of the questions was, will it be cut by half? And they said, no, it'll be cut by more than half. And if you cut the import permits down, you have a handle on the price, because you might have a little steel company saying, we're going to import some iron ore. Can we have an iron ore permit? Then the central government will say, okay, we will take that permit, but we'll order this iron ore as a collective rather than individually, and in that way they can negotiate a benchmark price rather than accept a higher spot price.
Now, the detentions of these 4 employees has led to strained relations between Australia and China. Have there been any serious repercussions?
Well, look, I think that they are serious. This tic-tac has been fueled since November last year by the Chinelco deal. I think that it's not only impacting on Rio, I think it's going to impact on BHP Billiton as well. And I think it's going to have a favourable impact possibly on Vale of Brazil, and possibly a favourable impact on Kumba of South Africa. But the whole issue with Rio at the moment must be hugely embarrassing, for Tom Albanese, the CEO, who was actually trying to do a deal with the Chinese, and now all of a sudden this whole thing has backfired, and there's a political element to it, which is quite worrying, and one hopes that there will be a détente of sorts. They need to get big gun diplomats in there to try and sort this out, because one's gut feeling is that it is going to impact quite harshly, say, on BHP Billiton, even though it's not Rio. And of course, BHP Billiton and Rio are sitting down and talking an iron ore deal, which seems to have been consummated already, which consolidates, the iron ore market a little bit further, which is likely to irritate the Chinese at this point.
So sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
That's for sure.
Thank you so much for your time, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Shannon.
That's the show for today. Join us again next time as we take an in-depth look at the mining world's premier projects, industries and business personalities.